Welcome, everybody, to QuickBooks Labs podcast, the only podcast in the UK that gather around these microphones to talk about the world of QuickBooks. And we are in for a treat today. We're going to explore tips, tricks, shortcuts, streamline, and all that we got around the QuickBooks experience. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Patrick, a chartered accountant, owner of an accounting firm called Boffix, a QuickBooks certified trainer with fancy logo, and of course, the QuickBooks chat on YouTube. And with me is a panel of experts. I'm going to go around the room and they're going to introduce themselves. So, Simon, do you want to go first?
Hi, I'm Simon. I am work for Wilkins & Smith. I'm a software advisory manager there, so we do all things tech, including QuickBooks.
Loving it, Charlie.
Oh dear, sorry, cup of tea. I am Charlie Khan. I am a chartered accountant based in London and a long-time QuickBooks user, and now apron. If I'm wearing my t-shirt here, my sweatshirt here.
Hopefully, it's QuickBooks branded tea that you've got.
I've got QuickBooks branded cup. Yeah, QuickBooks Pro Advisor cup. Yeah.
And the tea as well?
The tea is, no, it's not even Twinings. I can't remember what it is. It's nice tea.
Stale biscuits.
Johan's got
no, and those biscuits are well, it depends which ones you got, but the one I had, they're like champagne or little
champagne and strawberry. They're a bit weird.
Yeah. Strawberry and champagne, like.
Yeah.
They didn't sound good at the time, never mind 4 months later.
Johan, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Johan Gori from On Point Accounting, co-founder of Client Engager, and sit on the QuickBooks Council and co-host to Ask the Accountant, our weekly Monday podcast.
Certainly am. Okay, so we have a cracker in store for you today, but first let's figure out how this all works. We are live to the world at our regular time of 4:30 p.m. UK time. So if you're listening to this back at a later time, then why not think about joining us live? That way you can get involved with the show and talk about anything you want using the chat box, and keep us honest with your burning questions. Furthermore, if we are also live podcast service around the world, I've said that bit, I don't know why that's coming up again, but basically hit the subscribe button if you're not, because we've got more content coming your way. And we've got people like Kirsty in the chat. So hello, Kirsty. Make sure to keep us honest. We've got an absolute cracker in store. We've got 2 product launches, which is amazing. One of them for the UK, one of them for the US, but we're going to talk about exactly what that means and what we may probably expect to see. And Paul's here as well. Hello, Paul. Hope you are doing well. And we're also going to have a bit of update of some quick round of news that's happened in the world of QuickBooks and some updates here. But first, Kirsty, we could talk about slow books, but we've just got a fun-packed one. So, for political reasons, we're gonna concentrate on General Ledger first of all. So, we've had 2 new products being released. One of them in the UK, and that one is General Ledger. Now, I think first and foremost, people are a bit confused about what this was for, who this was for, what's the business kind of use case for it going to be. For me, General Ledger is that perfect solution for any clients who are not already on any form of software at this point in time. Imagine they come along and give you a box of receipts and box of records, anything like that. And also, I think General Ledger is brilliant for if you're using it, if you've got clients on other pieces of software. So if they're already on Xero, Sage, Free Agent, whatever they're on, you could then easily get them into the QuickBooks ecosystem by having a QuickBooks General Ledger license and bring them on board as well. There's other niche use cases as well, but I think that's really the main crux of it. First of all, around the room, anyone use the Ledger license yet? Simon, do you want to go first?
No. There you go. No, we haven't used it. No, I've not used the Ledger license yet.
Charlie, have you used it?
No, I haven't used it yet. I mean, the QuickBooks Ledger I absolutely see the point of it. I think it's really good for lots and lots of accountants out there. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Aaron, but I think clients can't buy the Ledger license. I can't remember how much the price is. It's very, very cheap, £3 a month or something. And clients can't buy it. The idea is for accountants who are doing the books, who have been doing the books for years for their clients, they can now get them into the QuickBooks ecosystem, whether just to be part of the ecosystem, to do any year-end accounts, to do tie it in with their accounts production software if they need. And it's a really cheap way of doing it. And for people, I think Johan in particular, for people who kind of use QuickBooks for the work papers and stuff for year-end accounts, again, it's a cheap way of getting them in there for that, as you alluded to, Aaron. At the moment, I don't have clients in that position. The one I'm waiting for is what we're going to talk about shortly, which I absolutely have clients who are ripe for. But Ledger is a great product for accountants who do a lot of bookkeeping for their clients and don't let the clients get involved at all, which we don't tend to do.
Makes a lot of sense. Jan, have you played around with it yet?
No, I needed it 7 years ago. So
I was going to say that's where it's aimed at,
Right.
because there's still a lot of people who aren't yet cloud-based like what we were doing 7 years ago. Judging by like the people we talk to and stuff, there's still
My
people
clients
starting
are on
that journey.
QuickBooks. Right. It's too late for them, especially seeing as they won't give us the ability to downgrade. At a time of a cost of living crisis and economic challenges leading businesses to struggle, it sounds daft, but if I could downgrade a client from a £15 a month package to a £5 a month package, then it's 120 quid in their back pocket. So, and I've got better things to be doing than counselling and starting a new subscription for them. So, yeah, no, I haven't used it yet. It's taken them too long to get it to us.
Okay, fair play. I would say though, I think the limitation of why they can't bring it is just because of their choices in what Ledger can do. So let's have a quick look at it. So QuickBooks Ledger.
It's technology. You can make it do anything you want. It's there this is a decision made by people leading to businesses and people having to suffer. This has got no, I'm calling absolute BS on the technical.
I don't know, because how many clients have you got that don't have sales invoices or sales receipts?
Loads.
Don't have either of those?
Don't have either of those. We just run it off the bank. Like,
yeah, but then you'd put sales receipts in, surely.
No, we just process the transaction in the bank.
Yeah, as a sales receipt.
As a sales receipt or a deposit?
As a deposit.
Okay. Most of the time people would do a sales receipt, wouldn't they?
No, we don't mess about with
that. but VAT, but anyway, but yeah, most people would for say, and if you have either an invoice or a sales receipt or a bill, you can't downgrade. So that's one of the issues, right? It's the same as you can't go from essentials to simple start if you use, a bill beforehand. You can't go from plus to.
They could fix it if they spent time on it. That's
maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
To be fair to them, I absolutely see one, as you say, it's technical. I mean, reasons why, and they could fix it, but why? And the other reason is, they've already got you signed up to a more expensive license. They're not a charity; they are a business. And
they're not struggling, are they?
No, but I mean, they're a business, and if they've got,
sorry for them.
All right.
Fair play. Okay, before we go any further, Paul says hoping to retire spreadsheets with Ledger. That's the plan, isn't it? Let's get those clients away from Ledger. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Chrissy says nice top, Charlie, and she's right. It's a very nice top. So yeah,
thank you. It is actually very nice. I've got a t-shirt as well and a very nice baseball cap. Yeah.
I'm still upset that we've got this favoritism. I'm not allowed to wear branded tops. Why is Charlie? It's not fair.
I've got Expensify on underneath. I haven't used that for 5 years.
Charlie. Oh, the numbers have gone up. Okay, so in front of me is QuickBooks Ledger. So very first of all, it looks very similar to all the other licenses out there. I think my only frustration with this when it first came out is it was out within an hour, or within an hour it being out, I'd already found a load of issues and broken things and all this, that, and the other. Most of them are fixed now, thankfully, so we're at a good stage with it. But basically, is QuickBooks just completely and utterly condensed down. We still have access to our work papers. We still have access to all of our review options, so books review and everything else that's there. Transaction page looks exactly the same as you'd expect it to look, with the option of putting transactions in as you'd expect that to go through. We can still reconcile. We can get our clients to, we can give them a login. They can go in and connect their bank, or they can give us a CSV file we can upload, whichever works for them. There is an option in here to go and go through and put expenses in, put them in as normal when you get the opportunity to see them by suppliers. The big one though is there's no invoices, no sales receipts. When you press the new button, we literally get expenses, check, credit card, and add suppliers your options, and a bit of bank deposit, and it pushes through from there. So really stripped back. Few things it's missing. There's no sales receipts in there. Receipt capture in there at all. That's gone completely. I'm not sure if anyone needed sales receipt capture in there, but that's not there.
I do.
Would you use this for? Sorry, Johan.
Go for it.
I find it odd that they've ripped out their receipt capture, a free tool.
Yeah.
But they are actively working with Dext, Apron, etc. for an API into it.
But at the moment, those don't work because they push bills and everything else. But I mean, it's not them actively working to help them. It's that the receipt captures are looking to find ways to get them to work with this product, isn't it?
I've heard
would you use this product? But would you use this product with a VAT registered client?
So receipt capture for me is the clients who send just their, a load of records in as a shoebox, right? If you could scan them in, use receipt capture.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess. But
That's a quick way of doing it, right?
Me, I wouldn't use this with a VAT registered client. It doesn't. I can't remember if it does VAT or not. Does it do VAT?
It does do VAT. Yeah, VAT's
right.
there.
Okay, it is there. I wouldn't use. I would use a sort of a proper version, Essentials or Plus for a VAT registered client. So if they're not VAT registered, my view I would.
How is this MTD compliant if we're not putting supporting evidence in for the? Right, isn't that the purpose of MTD? Is capturing the receipts?
No.
Well, you can put the receipts in. You can attach them manually if you want to, but you can't use receipt capture to get it in there.
But the point is, if for Ledger, I would have thought most clients you put on this, you would just be doing it from the bank, wouldn't you? Because if you're not running bills and receipts, then I suppose, maybe unless they're not just bank-based, maybe they are just receipt-based, and sometimes the receipts are on their personal bank, sometimes. So maybe you do it from that. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, as Boffix, we don't have any clients that would really, just be cash basis or anything. But Apple Core, my other accounting practice, I have people who just send me a box of receipts at the end of the year and tell me to get on with it, basically. So this would have been quite nice for that, right? Like I could literally scan them all in, get them into QuickBooks, and it could be done for that way. Now I'm going to have to use something like Apron, Dext, whoever I choose to do to try and get it in there. There's some issues with that at the moment, but that will get sorted. So,
I just don't think they've thought this through. Like, if they didn't have receipt capture and they didn't have VAT, I get it.
Yeah.
Cash accounting, simple, fine. But they've put the VAT tool in, and we have spent years practicing and preaching that if you want me to claim the VAT off that cost of coffee, I need the VAT receipt.
Yep.
But then they're not making it lives easy for us to get that information in there to support that, to give supporting evidence for the fact that they put taxes in there is what's confusing me.
Yeah, actually,
if they hadn't put taxes in there, I'd understand it as a completely cash basis, easy system.
Yeah.
But
would you think most of your VAT registered would be simple starting above anyway, wouldn't they? You'd imagine that's where they would be.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll look at the other
to use receipt capture or a receipt capturing tool. So if we want to do VAT services in the best practice, as we are preached to by governing bodies, etc., which is to have the supporting evidence of the receipt, to do that efficiently, we're going to have to use Simple Start or something. Then why bother giving us the tax tool on this?
I guess this is more for like, I mean, we don't use them anymore, but at the beginning you had those ones you'd do by spreadsheet, right? And you'd upload them by there.
Yeah, we have loads of them, but then I still get it. Why is it there? Unless it's
I
Is
think
it
that's
for
the
the
question
business
is
line?
they've guessed. They've not thought this through. So like,
unless it was going to be personal tax, I might get it if it was that, because then you've got the once a year people bringing it in April, May
there's
time.
still then we don't need VAT in there, do we?
No, we don't need VAT. Personal tax maybe, but not VAT.
But
I haven't tried.
But that's what we're going to come to with the new product we're going to talk about later.
yeah, I just think this is, they've had 7 years to deliver something phenomenal, and they've missed some real basics, like releasing a product that wasn't full of bugs and errors to start with. There was like the amount of issues you found with it, Aaron, within an hour of release was ridiculous. It should never have been released in that condition. But why the bloody hell have we got VAT filing in a product where we cannot practice best practice as highlighted by HMRC?
Yeah. I believe it's just for bridging software clients. Really, that's where you'd only use it for. But you're right. Yeah.
But
yeah,
then most of those are already put on other licenses anyway. You can't, as you say,
Exactly.
you can't download it.
I suppose going forward, it gives you a cost-effective way, doesn't it? But you're right. You're not gonna move them now, are you? They're just too much hassle, isn't it? Only one like major, not issue, but problem I found with it at the moment, or frustration, should I say, is we can connect the App Store, which is amazing, but again, things like your decks and your aprons are struggling to connect to it at the moment because it doesn't have bills and everything else, and that bit will get sorted. But what I found frustrating is their own first-party software, like Amazon Marketplace and eBay Marketplace and all those connectors, the one SaaS software that they bought, all of them are completely broken in here. Now, I guess that this solution isn't really designed for that, because I guess it's not really designed to
Just take them
have
out.
those.
I think that's the problem. There's too much. Just take out all that stuff and then
And
get
just
rid of the
keep it
blurred
simple.
lines.
Why is the App Store even there?
Yeah,
if you can't
shouldn't
link,
be.
Well,
what
it's
app
there for
can
your
you
Zen
run?
and Connect, isn't it? And for them, that's what it's there
Okay.
for, isn't it?
So when you go onto the App Store on Apple, and you're on your iPhone, for example, it doesn't show you the apps that are designed for iPads.
No, true.
When you go onto the iPad store, it shows you the apps that are designed for iPad. It's a filter. How long does it take to build that into the QuickBooks App Store? I'm having a really good day today. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Like,
make Johan a cup of coffee. He needs one.
I just think there's some really basic execution errors here that just make it look like a bleeding kids' party.
Yeah. So the biggest issue you have is that these software will somehow or some reason are still allowed to send invoices in, but we've just said invoices aren't in QuickBooks. So when you click them, you just get an error message like that. So you can't do anything with them. Like that's our issue we've got.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's the diagram of slow books. There's a man.
I mean, let me ask any of you. Maybe this is probably more addressed at Simon, because I'm going to use a 4-letter swear word. Have you used Zero Ledger?
We did back in the day.
Because this is clearly what this is aimed at. So I mean, there must be.
As we said earlier, this is
use Zero Ledger.
This is aimed at people who haven't gone to cloud yet.
But is this not a direct competitor for Zero Ledger? So how have people used Zero Ledger in the past? Either the business or the accountant? I don't know, because I don't use Zero.
Well, if you've got more than 5 documents, you don't use Zero Ledger because it's now out of price.
I know that. Yeah, they just announced price rises. I know that today.
But yeah, like in theory, the functionality is superior to Zero Ledger. I don't think there's a lot of these features available in Zero Ledger at all.
I mean, you get working pages, right?
Not features that encourage you to do one thing and then don't let you do it in the best practice.
No.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I found with this, just so everyone's aware, but public service announcement, I didn't think was going to be a big issue, is we don't get a mobile app, which makes sense, right? Because this isn't designed for the client to be going in and figuring that out. So I completely get that. But what that does limit you is how easy it is to get the bank connected. Because I don't know about you, but clients now love the mobile app experience for connecting the bank. It's like literally click a button, straight to the bank, accept, boom, boom, boom.
I've got clients that only have the QuickBooks app for that purpose. They never use it for anything else. They just know it's a quick connection tool.
But hang on, once you connect to the bank,
And this is the
once you connect to the bank the first time, you don't need the client ever again, because we can, the whole thing that came in at the end of last year was October or whatever it was last year, is that we can now refresh it every 90 days ourselves.
Yeah, but
so
the problem we have,
what I do now with clients is I get them to share a screen over Zoom. I set everything up for them. I hand over control for them to type in their username and password and do whatever they need with their banking app to put in the codes acceptable there, and that's it. And then they're off again.
Well, even me, right? Like, I'd like to think I'm quite technically able, right? I was struggling so much to get my Revolut account to connect because it was going, oh, I need to go here and I had to do this. And I had to go, and I was jumping through all these hoops and it failed and I had to go back. And I was having a horrible experience in getting it through. I persevered because I needed to get it connected to get it worked. But if that's a client going through that experience,
it's not a great experience for them,
is it?
Is it actually aimed at people with a bank feed, or is it actually people who usually turn up once a year with that paper bag?
Great point.
If it's not aimed at the people with a bank feed, then don't put the bank feed option in there.
That's what I'm saying. Is it actually? It should be, and it comes back to the app thing again. Isn't it just get rid of it?
Right.
For your contractors, isn't? Oh, I suppose they want sales invoices.
It just looks half-baked right now. Like,
yeah.
Well, if it's for people with the the modern version of a bag of receipts, then you need to have receipt capture built in. I mean, we can use third parties to get the API working, but if it's a cheap product, they should have the receipt capture built in. And if it's not, if it's for bank connected businesses where they put most of their transactions through a business bank account, and they're not VAT registered, so it's not essential to have the receipt, then that's a different offering. But as you say, it seems confused by offering bits of one and bits of the other.
Can I just also point out a fundamental issue here, right? The four of us on the QuickBooks Accounting Council, we attend every QuickBooks event going. We attend Accountex, like all of the events. And so I would like to think we are well informed, and none of us seem to know what target this is for. How the hell are anyone else that doesn't attend these events and doesn't read the emails and doesn't do the work updates going to know what this is for? Are we saying it's a communication issue?
Is that just because it's not aimed at us? Devil's advocate. It's not aimed at us.
I'll be using it for my Xero clients, definitely. Like, the idea for Xero clients is, I've got a spreadsheet already. I download my Xero trial balance, put it into QuickBooks within 5 minutes, right? That to me makes sense. All of my clients are now going to be on the same working papers. Boom, boom, boom.
That makes sense, but
that bit
as a product itself, I don't think it's aimed at any of us.
But
yeah,
even if it's aimed at us or not, we should be able to answer the basic principle of who is it aimed for. Considering our attendance to these events, considering our knowledge of the QuickBooks SKUs and the QuickBooks products, and our involvement in QuickBooks to the level it is, the fact we cannot turn around and say, well, it's not aimed at us, but we can't tell you who it is aimed at.
Yeah.
There's a communication issue there.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to get so many angry emails and phone calls when my
self-assessment should be in there, by the way.
What was that? Sorry.
Self-assessment should be in there for tax.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to bother building it because MTD's on its way, right? Like, it's one of those, isn't it? I imagine.
Yeah.
It's not there though. Yeah, I've just checked. It's not there, but I imagine the reasons.
So actually, what we're saying
is build MTD in there once they know what the hell it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. The MTD one will be in.
Yeah. If any of our clients have signed up to the beta, ledgers won't work for them at the moment.
Yeah.
But MTD, it's a
no. It's not a product for that yet. No.
If they're that tech forward, they're going to be keeping their books up to date, aren't they? You're not going to sign up to MTD.
Remember, they don't have to be tech forward. Their accountant does. So True. I've just taken on a client who is signed up to the MTD ITSA beta because his accountant had signed him up. And I'm now going, well, shit, we're not signed up as an agent. Like,
and can you opt out once you're in? You're in.
I think once you're in, you're in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
so
I'm in, but I don't. Yeah, it'll be all right. Okay, so final point on Ledger. Then I think it's out there. I was one of the most excited for it, and I just feel like there's just exactly, just there. But this next product, I think, is going to be even more exciting to talk about. So that was QuickBooks Ledger. Great, that works really well. Who out here likes QuickBooks Self-Employed? Raise your hands.
This is going to go well.
Right, that was one of us. And I think that's the problem.
So, yeah.
QuickBooks Self-Employed was never a loved product. QuickBooks Self-Employed was designed to be the simplest of simple sets of bookkeeping, and the idea was then that it gave an opportunity for you to hand it to a client who wasn't a limited company, was self-employed, and gig mentality, that sort of thing is what it was about, right? Now,
I never had an issue with self-employed. Again, it was the communication of clients were told directly by QuickBooks, this is what you need, self-employed.
Yeah.
It was never explained to them the limitations of there's no balance sheet, which up until COVID was not an issue for the majority of clients because they didn't have any loans and stuff. All of a sudden, they've got bounce back loans.
Yeah.
And now that because they've got for a bounce back loan, they've got a non-viable, like their product doesn't work, that software didn't work for them. And we couldn't upgrade it at a click of a button.
They didn't appear in your QuickBooks. They didn't appear in your QBOA account. They're separate.
Well, they did, but it was a real pain to get it in there, wasn't it?
A window in a window type. Yeah. Like, principle of a simple client-focused software, fantastic. But the limitations were of that which a client that wasn't using an accountant would get themselves into a lot of mess very, very quickly for miscategorizing things like bounce back loans and stuff because there wasn't a balance sheet.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah, I get that. And there was workarounds, but it were messy workarounds, and it was all workarounds with that product, right? You had to really, just to put an eBay, simple eBay client on there, had to have workarounds of all this, that, and the other. So QuickBooks took that feedback and they thought, well, how about we build QuickBooks Self-Employed within QuickBooks itself, very similar to how Ledger is, and kind of strip back all of the complications in QuickBooks and build you a solution directly in there. And that's what they've done in the US. They've called it QuickBooks Solopreneur, and we're about to have a look at it now. In the UK,
US product we're looking at, yeah,
US only at this point in time. Okay. In the UK, we believe it's going to be called something else. Not sure what, but let's call it Solopreneur for now. But we also believe it's coming to UK at some point. So having a look at this US product now will be a good indication of what we should expect to see. So,
before we do that, though, can we? Because Ledgers was available in the US for a good year before it came to us.
It wasn't a year; it was 4 and a bit months.
Oh, was it? Okay. So, is the functionality we see in Ledgers here matching what is in Ledgers in the US?
Like for like, yeah.
Right. Just and if they've got different functionalities, then obviously comparing Solopreneur to us, Ready for Us, is a issue.
So what I believe will be the major difference here will be the way taxes is dealt with.
Tax different,
and the currency sign, hopefully.
You say that, you'll see
the date order.
I don't think I'm supposed to be in there, but I got the mobile app to work as well, and we'll show it on screen later. Remind me to do that. But that shows me pounds when it's US dollars. But anyway, that's by the by. All right, so here is, and I think that's because I'm not supposed to be there. QuickBooks Solopreneur. So again, US only product at this point in time. All right, rigmarole to get myself into this. This was not an easy way of doing it. I've had to forge my address and everything, but we're in. we get to show
the private networks a lot.
Yeah. So straight away, first of all, aesthetically, it looks very, very, very similar to QuickBooks Online, right? So that's going to be good for us as accountants. That means, training your team up how to use the software, all that sort of stuff. That's definitely going to be a good thing. The fact that we have a proper dashboard, I think, is really, really cool. I think that's going to be a nice element to it, including a cash balance at the top here. That's got to be something we never had in QuickBooks Self-Employed properly, not a proper cash balance that we could play around with. It's telling me a proper dashboard here that I can customize like we have on QuickBooks, telling me some information like profit and loss account, expenses, income, that sort of stuff, which we like, we like to kind of show off to clients, don't we? It's kind of these, oh, look at this cool feature here. It's give you real-time information, everything that goes with it. So that's your dashboard. At the top here, you can create an invoice, customer, and estimate. And in the left-hand corner, you can do new invoice, customer, estimate. And you can even get a search bar. So we've got that functionality there, which we love. Now I'm going to miss transactions, and we're going to go into get paid to begin with and come back to transactions. Get paid, get the option to do invoices, estimates, and everything else that goes with it. I actually really like this. I think the fact that one of the wow factors of the mobile app at the moment is you can create estimates and then convert them there and then. You get all that functionality here. And if we have time, I'll show you that functionality on the phone. Interestingly, they've got the new invoice experience. So great to think what your first thing here. Do we not like this view? It's different, right? So it kind of takes a while to get used to. This is the new
invoice. Americans have had this though on their normal QuickBooks products for a few months though, haven't they? I've never seen this before.
It's more free agency. Like when you do an invoice in free agent, you get it looks like an invoice is being filled out.
Yeah.
So some of the genuine feedback I get from my clients is I'm filling out some thought, but I don't understand how it fits within the invoice. And then you see the invoice layout at the end. So I like this.
Yeah. I think functionality wise, it's exactly the same as what we'd expect. We've got the product and services there. It's going to be a little bit drop down because we don't have stock or anything, stock management or anything like that. But you can bring in consultation, for example. That all comes through. We get pay now opportunities on here for the first time in QuickBooks Self-Employed. So you got the pay now button that you could have activated. I doubt Go Cardless would be available here, but the potential to have Go Cardless integration as well if they wanted to go that far. They get a new late fees option coming through, which is brand new. So this is kind of the opportunity to automatically, you can go in settings and change this, but at the moment I've set it to 5% once you go over your due date and stuff. So little things like that are coming in, which I quite like. Customizations right here. So you like Jan was saying, no, like they're in that invoice. They're seeing exactly when they click this button here to the ship to, it appears directly there. So yeah, I can see that being a really useful one, right? Scheduling's built directly here, so we can put invoice reminder on directly from here, and then we've got a few design options. Feels like a little bit less design, but honestly, like what?
That's the one. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the one thing they took away, wasn't it? The ability to upload the Word designs, which was great.
Yeah, well, you could just build your own then, right? Yeah,
which you can't do anymore.
Pay a designer and off you went, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd like them to. The Word thing was great for some clients, it caused problems for others. But what I would like them to do is have the thing they had in QuickBooks Desktop way back in 2000, certainly in 2006, maybe earlier, where it was built into their platform, but you could add. So it wasn't just one logo field you could add. You could add multiple fields, and there could be a logo field, or it could be a text field, or it could be whatever you wanted. And it would be great if they allowed that. I don't see why they don't offer that.
Well, they did for a bit in the US product, give you the option to scan in a PDF of an invoice and it tried to replicate it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But it was still doing the Word document. I think it was then converting it into the Word document type.
Something like that. Yeah. This was only 2 months ago.
But that late fees would be good in all the products, to be fair.
Yeah. And I imagine this is something that will come later.
That's something that Sage desktops had for decades.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Take Time 50 had it, didn't it? Yeah. You can see your email view, PDF view, and payout view as well. And so you can literally see exactly what the client's going to see when you send it. So I quite like that. I think that's going to work well. And the fact
I
that
like
it's
that as well, because that how many of our clients will get a phone call from one of their customers going, right, I'm lost. What do I do? And well, if you click on it and you click on what are you looking at? Oh, I'm looking at this view of this. And it's like, all right, I'm just going to go in and have a look at it myself. Because then the client can see what the customer's looking at in that pay of it. I like that. I think that's very good. And that again needs to roll out to everything.
I believe this is the new view we're going to get at some point, isn't it? Comes with it. The estimates work quite well as well. You can actually accept the estimates now. So they get to review and approve it directly there. So you can send an estimate out, go there. Or like I said, on the mobile app, you can sign it there and then as well and have all that.
They had that on the mobile app before, didn't they?
Yeah. Now, one oddity about this, I'm not sure if this is intentional or like they've just not thought it through yet. But this £105,000 at the moment is created in QuickBooks, but it's not posted in QuickBooks. You can't bring this into into reports and everything.
But
because you haven't got the debtors and creditors, right? Or you haven't got a debtors account. So the only time this will actually appear is when it gets paid. Then you can mark it as paid in the bank,
Hang on.
and then it comes through.
Whoa.
Are we saying that this doesn't have a balance sheet again?
No, it doesn't have a balance sheet. But no, the client doesn't have a balance sheet. We, as the accountants, have a balance sheet.
Right.
So I'll show
So
you
we
that
can
when we
still
get
do
to
accrual accounting off this.
Well, this is where it gets weird because under reports, we can put cash and
A new
accrual in.
QuickBooks product gets weird. No.
But hang on, if you can create
So
an
it's not
I
posted
understand.
it, but if you go to an accountant's balance sheet, does that figure appear?
I don't think so because we can't get to the account side yet. But if you do accrual or cash accounting, you can see it. So it is technically there, but it won't appear in any of their taxes or anything until it gets paid. So it's very much
Hang on,
cash
so
accounting.
you set it to accrual accounting. You raise an invoice for $100,000. It doesn't appear in income until it gets paid, which means it's cash accounting.
If you set it to accrual, you can, but you have to go through the settings to do that. And I don't know if you're supposed to be able to do that. I think that might be a little bit of a thing. Because
Oh, that's
the
crazy.
way I believe they're trying to do it is this is only supposed to be for you to raise sales invoices so that when you get paid, it can be recorded correctly.
Is that an American only thing?
Is there?
Yeah.
Are we going to get VAT in this? Because solopreneurs
No.
become
No.
VAT registered.
No VAT. No VAT. If you want VAT, it's Simple Start and above.
Right.
I think we get ditch Simple Start and put this in place of it. Is my theory anyway. Thought anyway.
Sorry, Sam, what was that? I missed that.
Ditch Simple Start and have this in its place anyway. That's my
Controversial.
Well, I mean, we don't. We don't tend to have anyone on Simple Start, but then just replace it with this. You've got a proper.
Yeah.
Simon's not wrong here because we've got ledgers, Simple Start, self-employed / solopreneur, whatever we're going to call it. We've basically got 3 products aiming at the same bleeding space here.
Yeah, and it's only VAT which really gives you that definition to which one you're going to go to. Okay, so we've kind of move. You get product and service as well, so you can see the product and services. We like that. You can kind of set it and forget it, sort of thing. Off you go. Customer goals. This is a whole new area, so you actually get to set goals within here. Like I've put get more customers, and every time a new customer comes on, you're going to get a tick box to it, and you can do it for income. You can change it to what type of goals you want, and all that
Not
sort of
just
stuff.
a VAT threshold because we can't handle VAT.
Oh no, but it's a simple upgrade. If you want to go to Simple Start, it's one click they're up in Simple Start, right?
Yeah, but it's a whole other user interface, isn't it, for the client?
Yeah, that is the problem.
This is the problem: is we are capping. So I like this user interface. It's clean. It's easy to see. I'm sure a business owner will understand this. But then the moment we add VAT, they've got to learn a whole new interface.
They do, yeah. Which is probably
let's be slightly fair. Hold on, let me argue against that. They're not learning a whole new interface. They're learning additional features, and
different wording on the left-hand side.
The most complicated additional feature they're going to have to learn is VAT, and that doesn't matter what software you're using. You're going to have to learn how to do VAT. Huh?
The bank is going to be different, though, isn't it? That bank transaction page will be completely different. Yeah. We're not seeing it yet, right? So you'll see it.
The left-hand view, a lot of those wordings is going to be changed because it will go to the generic view.
UK anyway. I reckon when this comes out in the UK, it will not say what they say on the left-hand side there anyway.
Probably.
Oh yeah, probably yeah. I mean, I imagine this area is ready for a MailChimp integration at some point.
That is from MailChimp, right?
It's
like
not yet,
but
I feel like that's what it's going to do, isn't it? Yeah. They did actually, I can't replicate it again. They did actually do a really cool area where it was telling you how to achieve your goals. Like there was 10 steps of make sure you do social media posts and all this kind of stuff. So they're trying to kind of be more than just the account software. For what it's aimed at for your first ever business, that's really quite encouraging, right? That's a nice element to bring it through. I just can't remember how to get back to. Oh, here it goes. 7 things. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. Learn your competitors, stuff like that, right? And they can improve on it.
So that, like it says, use the creative assistant. So where does that go? Step 4. Does it go to MailChimp? Yeah.
So we were right to assume it's MailChimp based. But yeah, you know, that solves it. But it does make sense, right? That's going to be built in there, and there'll be more MailChimp-esque in there. Like you said, MailChimp Lite's going to be there, right? And from day one. Reports wise, we have the opportunity profit and loss by customer, and profit and loss by month. So profit and loss by month there, that's a big one. Having the opportunity to have this here. As you can see, that 100K is not showing at this point because it's not been paid. I do have the chance to go to accrual, and when I do it, it does appear, but I don't think I'm supposed to have that accrual option. I think that's not supposed to be there, but we'll see.
What about customize?
Customize options, we have all your customize options, to be honest, but a lot of these aren't going to work, right? In fact, this is where it gets really weird, because if I click into it, it takes me to the new QuickBooks, the new QuickBooks experience, new reports experience.
#slow QuickBooks.
And then again, I think I break it when I do this, but if I go to filter and take everything off, suddenly I get, I didn't take them all off properly there. Clear all. There we are. Suddenly I get access to everything. So if I did all dates,
balance sheet.
I got a whole balance sheet here. So I don't think I'm supposed to be able to see that. I think that's like
so let me throw my 2 pennyworth in them.
Go for it.
Given that this is capable of doing everything, not everything, it's not, but it's a simplified version. I think it's a really good idea that business owners can raise invoices, raise estimates, all that's a really good idea. It's going to make it very attractive to the small business owner. But it seems to me crazy if they block the idea that you can choose whether it's accrual or cash accounting. You should be able to choose. It's all in there. It seems crazy to close it down. Maybe they default to cash accounting because they think it's easier for some small business owners. But at least we as accountants can set it up the way we want our clients to operate it. It's still it's still a different product from Simple Start and Essentials and Plus, and it will suit a lot of clients. And I see great value in this. But if you force everybody on cash accounting, that seems nuts to me.
That might be
US only. It's built to allow accruals, so just to turn off what's already built in there.
Hang on.
I think it's
Why
only
is
US.
We're allowed sales tax and we're not allowed VAT, which is our sales tax.
Because theirs is completely different. It's completely different. But what I would say is, I think it's only because this is built for the US product at the moment that's why it's very much cash basis, because it is only, you can't change it here, right? I have cash accounting with cash only. I can't change it. So I think the UK product will be very different because we have the choice, don't we? Cash versus accrual.
Yeah.
So I assume
maybe they only work in cash in the US for small. I don't know.
Exactly. Mileage works very similar to the thing. One of the good bits is mileage is going to be automated. So that's one of the huge things self-employed did that QuickBooks Online doesn't. QuickBooks Online doesn't do, right? If you do the mileage, you have to then manually put it in. Here it's all done for you. Same with use of home as office. That's there. Business assets is there, but yeah, I'm debating if that works or not. So to me, they're the really good bits. The transaction page is the next page. This is the bit where I feel like there's some amazing bits here, but I'm not 100% convinced on it. So this is the view you get when you connect your bank to it. You get your transactions coming through. On each transaction, you can choose if they're personal or business, just like here. Okay. And you can choose what category they are. They give you some like suggested categories at the top, which is cool, a search bar, and we can scroll down. Now, when we as the accountants can have access to it, we can add our own categories to it later down the line. So we can be more, in the US, they've got these -200 options here, which crazily, if the transaction's over 200, it just ignores it then. It doesn't even come up in your reports, which is really weird. But I don't think we're going to get that in the UK. I think that's going to be different.
Where's the balance?
There is no balance.
The bit that we look at to make sure, does that look right?
So as accountants, we will be able to reconcile. We'll get the reconciliation option. The client, and my bit that I don't like about this is I don't know which bits I've done and which ones I haven't, because and I haven't even done most of these categories. This is all AI driven at this point in time. I connect to my bank.
Hang on, AI is picking them automatically.
Yeah, and I don't know how to change them. As soon as it goes in, it will just, because there's no
not the pencil at the far end
or unreviewed. It's just a list of your transactions, And there's no way
you
of
don't know
saying
which ones you've done and which one AI's done.
exactly. There's no way of being able to say, right, I've done that one, or my client's done that one, I need to review it. There's none of that.
Cool.
What's the filter top right going to give you?
So filter top right is a search.
No,
or,
on the right, not the left.
Yeah,
no, on
sorry.
the right.
And
no,
then
not
next
that
to it
one. Not
is...
that one. No, not that one. On the right.
Oh, the three
Oh,
bars
that one.
Right. The other right.
Sorry,
There you go.
export and show excluded, but you can't exclude anything at the moment. So
Oh.
don't think that's supposed to be there.
Because I thought perhaps, can you just say, well, show me all of category lodging or show me all the category apps and software?
So I could
Well,
do
okay.
I could do that here.
The good news is,
And I
Right.
do have a bulk assign as well, so I could make adjustments here quite easily.
you don't know which ones you've already bulk assigned.
No. So, and I don't
The good
know.
news
I
is
think
the
it's fine
VAT
to
issue
make
is not an issue anymore, because I wouldn't recommend this to a client in the first place.
But
No, I see. I
get-
can see where this is going. I absolutely
Yeah.
see where this is
Tab.
going.
What was that? Sorry.
It needs another tab or a tag, a way to identify what has and hasn't been dealt with.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
In QuickBooks Self-Employed, it was quite simple, wasn't it? It was bold and not bold, and that was a real simple way of looking at it. I get what they're trying to do because they want it super simple. They want it so that you don't have to go from unreviewed to reviewed and have to mess around with that. I get that. I just feel like at the moment it's really difficult for me to know which one of these I've done. Like, I have no idea which ones I've dealt with and haven't dealt with. I've got to untick this for the last 12 months to see all of them, and I just feel like the interface on here is not perfect yet. It needs some work, right? It needs something to make it work, but the simplicity of it's brilliant. I'm not 100% sure I like the personal versus business, because all personal does is put it to personal expense, but if I click into it I can then still put it to wherever I want. So that I'm not 100% sure I like that.
But hang on, but if you do that, it won't show personal anymore, will it? I mean,
it will
if
then
you
go
click
to business. Yeah, it will change
Right.
that to business. Oh no.
No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, if I charity for some reason wasn't or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it tells me it's a deductible category, advertising, marketing, transaction, business. So it will automatically to business. So
That's all
I see
right.
what they're doing. The bit I absolutely love about them, and the bit I need to give them kudos for, is if I find a income here, let's say this here, £150, and imagine this is a rental property, for example. If I put this back to business and I split this transaction, struggling to figure out how to split now. It was dead easy to split the other day. Where's he gone?
Can't split
I
that
think I've
business.
already done it. I've already done it. Let me do this one here. Split this one. So when I split, the nice thing is it automatically, this one here will update. So if I put this here as, I don't know, £15, for example, and put it against a category, it automatically updates that bit over there. So I
How
like
can you have
that.
a business loan if you don't have a balance? Oh God.
Hang on, what's it
Yeah,
changed?
that business loan will, yeah.
Oh, I see. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I
do
put
like
this,
that.
So you can't change the total, is what you're saying.
no, the total's fixed.
Change
but
that
it
to
will-
minus 25.
Question.
And then that
So
sales
the
updates
total
on top.
180 doesn't change. It's automatically changing the others' terms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that's brilliant because
That's
for
clever.
rental properties, for all that's for those split ones, for eBay and all that, that's brilliant. That we should incorporate in the real QuickBooks, right? That should how split should work in QuickBooks Online.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Just to go back to these categories.
Yeah.
I know you said we can create categories as an accountant.
Yeah.
Can the solopreneur create categories?
Good.
They won't have access to the chart.
That was my concern, was if they could do that and then decide whether those categories are business or personal, they're going to get themselves into all sorts of trouble here.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't like the way the Americans do it, that if I put something that's over £200 to apps and software, it just disappears off the face of the earth. It doesn't come in the reports anymore. I think I put
Maybe
something up
that's
here.
because it's automatic. I mean, like we'd have that as capital allowances, and maybe it's off the P&L. Maybe it's automatically doing
but that should be us to choose, right? Like,
well, maybe that's what
if
that
I put this
category means.
O2 here to phone and put it to there, right? Then that £500, if I go to reports, just doesn't exist.
Is that just an American thing going on?
Yeah, but
It is, yeah.
But maybe in the States that's what over 200 is. I don't know, but maybe it's a cap saying at this point it's capital.
But surely there should be a UI telling me that's what's happened. Because at the moment I'm really confused. Like, where's my 500 quid gone? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. It just, but that's what it is. I really miss on QuickBooks Self-Employed the little graph at the top, because I thought that was really useful for knowing what you'd put in and what you hadn't and what's missing. I missed the balance as well.
If we are sending that phone to a balance sheet as an asset, and this solopreneur doesn't have an accountant, how does he find that asset list to report on his own tax return?
He has to fudge it, he has to go into it, go to the general ledger, reduce the general ledger, and then try and find it there. But the worst thing is it's still classed as phone. It just doesn't appear anywhere. So don't know.
But can the solopreneur buy this themselves, or is this like ledger only sold by the accountant?
They will be able to put this will be recommended to anyone. On the website, it's like, are you self-employed? Use this service.
But then you say that we as the accountant can change the categories. So a solopreneur buying it themselves and not having an accountant can't change their categories.
And can't look at their balance sheet.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's a hole here.
Yeah, but that's the same as self-employed.
Yeah.
They couldn't see the balance sheet there.
That's because it didn't exist. We can't see a balance sheet in self-employed.
True.
Self-employed didn't try a
self-employed wasn't a double entry bookkeeping product. Self-employed wasn't
true.
double entry, was it? As far as I know.
No.
So
You must have rules in that.
So there's one other feature missing. Can anyone guess what other feature's missing?
Rules.
Good one. Rules is gone. I forgot about rules.
Can you have more than one bank? Oh, yes. Can you have more than one bank account?
Rules has gone. Gutted. I didn't think of that one. Rules hopefully will come back. What was missing in general ledger?
The balance sheet.
No, the balance sheet was there.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I'm guessing you can't have credit cards on this either then.
You can do. Just add it as a link a bank. Off you go. No receipt capture.
Yeah.
Which was, I thought, a really good feature of self-employed. It was like magic to them, right? Like they were taking photos of everything.
It needs to have receipt capture. Yeah, definitely. Because most of the people that this is aimed at will be using their phone.
Yeah.
Especially at the rate this thing is going to get them into an investigation. I mean...
Quickly, this is the mobile app. Very nice and clean. Very, very usable. Yeah, you'd get it on the dashboard, don't you? You just don't get it on the... but that cash balance wrong as well, because that's not zero, it's whatever. But that's fine. That's just a bug, right? The transaction, though, is just the same. I don't know which one of these I've dealt with and which ones I haven't. And you do get to connect. So you'll see this top one, that £4,000 there. That is connected to my sales invoice. So I was able to match it, but you can't match part payments. So I'm not sure how you're going to get that to work. So yeah, again, that's something that probably gets fixed later down the line. But at the moment, yeah, that's going through. But my biggest thing is I don't know which one of these transactions are ready to go, which ones I've looked at.
It used to be just like swipe right, swipe left kind of style, didn't it?
Yeah, it's still got that Marcus business to do that. So a Marcus business, and then I can say it was.
They should just disappear, not stay on the list, in theory.
Yeah. I don't know where hotel's gone now, but yeah, the idea then is I could put it to, I don't know, whatever entertainment will do. Lodging should have been, but yeah, but then I can put it through from there. So I like this. I like the cleanness of it. I just find it really difficult to know which one I've dealt with, which ones I haven't. It's obviously done quite well. Phone's been put there. Streamline went to apps and software. Fair enough. But I don't know which ones I've got to go through and sort out. So, what's everyone's thoughts then?
Needs a bit of work.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
Go for it.
It's a word I've used to you a number of times, or it's a product name I've used to you a number of times.
Begin with a C and end in a T.
It does.
How
it
dare
does
you?
feel a bit like that.
Let's make sure we tell everyone what the word is. Yeah, it does.
You want me to say the word? Coconut, yeah.
It does look a bit like coconut, yeah.
I mean, coconuts, my view on coconut is it's sort of basically all right. It does a sort of decent job, but it doesn't really, it's not as smooth and as easy as I would like as the accountant, but the clients quite like it. This feels a little bit like that. I think the heart of it here seems to be pretty good. But I'm in agreement with all of your comments about the other bits that it needs to do, which it seems to me are easy to add if they want to add them because they're built in. They just don't show them to us. So I think the heart of it looks pretty good.
I think it's got to change fundamentally. If they're selling lists direct to market, they need to get, and they're giving the people options to put things on balance sheets. They need to show the balance sheet. Otherwise, that business owner is going to get into trouble when they do their tax returns and stuff. Like, in its current state, I couldn't recommend it.
Yeah, but isn't the balance sheet just going to confuse them? I think that's the point. Like, there's always a.
And don't give us the option to put stuff to the balance sheet.
But then we're back to just self-employed, right? And then we're back in that circle. We've got to, something's got to give. Something's got to give for us to be able to, either we have simplicity or we have like ability to be a bit more creative. We can't have both, right? Because it goes back to double entry, like debits and credits. That's the problem here, isn't it?
It's another skew. If this came over to the UK today in its current form, would you recommend it to your clients?
I think the over self-employed probably would actually. Or the only thing it's missing is
receipt. Recommend it to someone that's not got any intention of having an accountant or bookkeeper. They want to do it all themselves.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it, that one?
Right.
That's a tricky question.
This is an assisted product. For that reason, it should only be available through your accountant or bookkeeper.
How much is it in the US? Just out of interest.
Good question. I was just showing you the whole. You can sign.
You've got one thing to remember, Johan. Again, I'm gonna argue with you slightly on this one. This is aimed at the American market. We're looking at the American product.
I completely get that.
And when it launches in the UK, I certainly hope that a lot of the things that we're talking about today will be quote unquote fixed.
Yeah. Because you can't work in the UK market on the assumption someone is going to use an accountant or bookkeeper. And if you are working on that assumption, you cannot make it available for public sale. It needs to go through
$20
a month. How much?
How much did you say, Si? 20.
It's $20 a month.
So that would normally.
Yeah, we can't convert that because American prices are much higher than UK prices. We're very lucky.
Still, but
I mean,
like QuickBooks Advanced was $70 while it was £35 for us. So let's go on the assumption it's £10 a month. How much?
I know. So that's showing like how much it's different to us, right? Like that's how much it's different. So.
But that's getting a tax return done, isn't it?
That's getting a tax return done.
No, but I'm saying, like, we wouldn't charge 219 plus 69 per state, would we, for a tax return? It's
have you tried dealing with a Scottish tax return? We might be in that state soon.
You get to see how it's calculated, though, so you can kind of break it down a little bit, your balance sheet. You get estimated taxes directly on this page. There's a lot to like about it, right? I just feel this is the bit where it's let it down, and arguably this is the most important area. So,
the bit that I know also is going to let it down is the marketing of this, is the pitching of it. Like, estimated taxes is that, right? But I can guarantee you their marketing will not explain that estimated tax is based on this being your only income. So if you've got a part-time job and you've got...
In fairness to this one, you can change that here, because that's what self-employed always had as its benefit. You can go into your tax profile and you can put W2 income and all that sort, which is equivalent to what's having other income.
That's PAYE,
yeah.
Okay.
So if I put 25k, not 250k apparently, and put that in there, then it's it all changes.
No, that just one thing, just to quickly interrupt you. That's one of the things that in all the QuickBooks products, I wish as you started typing numbers, once you get beyond 3 digits, that it put the commas in there automatically for you.
Yeah.
Because it's far too easy, as you just did, to type 250,000 instead of 25,000.
Yeah. But then once that's in, it will just make everything work for you. So it will take away your personal allowances, all that sort of stuff. It's going to look at vehicle expenses.
That helps, but I still think you should be able to add as many different incomes to that as you want. Because if you're part-time self-employed, you've got a part-time job or a full-time job, and maybe you've got some rental income, like as soon as you've got that third factor,
Yeah.
that tax estimate's out of whack.
Yeah,
Because they only let you do.
That's what this is designed for, right? Like
Right.
that's quite a complex scenario.
Is it?
Yeah, I would say
It
so.
specifically says it's, I'm just looking at the marketing stuff now. It just says, it's specifically intended for a one-person business. That's all it's aimed at. It even says even a bit about what the difference between that and Simple Start. It specifically says Simple Start will have collab with accountant. So it's saying this doesn't have collab with accountant in the US.
Well, it doesn't.
But it needs it, so you can see the balance sheet.
No, so that's what it's saying. It's saying on there, go to Simple Start if you want collab with your accountant, have your balance sheet, etc., etc. Apps, as you noticed, it hasn't got the apps that the other one had, Ledger had.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't have that. Right? Yeah, yeah.
It's saying go on Simple Start instead. They're specifically saying.
This, I was just saying, this is for the solopreneur. It's not just a sole trader staff. It's for the sole trader who's got no staff. It's for the very small consulting business, maybe or,
Aaron, just bring it back up.
Maybe a contractor.
Yeah, one sec. I'm just on a sensitive screen.
It's for your Etsy sales people, like selling on vintage.
We've just been spending ages saying, oh well, that bit's available to the accountant. So like, if that goes into the balance sheet, that bit's available to the accountant. What's missing on the left-hand menu?
As I said, there is no accountant.
This isn't accountant access yet. We haven't got that. We can't play around with that bit yet. Yeah, we can't invite our accountant yet.
But we're posting stuff to where the accountant. Surely that should have come out at the same time. If we're posting data where only the accountant,
there is no accountant log on to it.
There will be. It's coming. It's been confirmed that it's on its way, but it's not there now. This is me.
I'd argue that should have been released at the same time, but okay.
Aaron, do you want to go into subscriptions?
That's like releasing time tracking and not putting a stopwatch there.
Right.
Like, oh, sorry, you wanted to track time with the time logs. Oh, right.
So, can you upgrade from there easily?
Not from here, no.
Cool.
But you will. That's the point. Is you will be able to upgrade. There will be a proper upgrade path.
Have you brought this to the panel too early, Aaron? Is that what we're saying?
It's live in. I mean, I know I had to.
Okay, so once again, it's released too early in America.
It's live to the public. Like US citizens can go and use this now if they wanted to.
Is the sell of this, and you just pointed straight out, it's the £219 or dollar tax return. This is what this is aimed at, so they can get that bit of the part TurboTax in that.
So actually, what they're actually doing here is that this isn't for you to work with your accountant.
No.
You can post stuff to the balance sheet and stuff. Your accountant's not going to see it, but your TurboTax accountant will.
That's which is the QuickBooks Live thing, isn't it? Which we know they've discussed with us many times in the UK, and everyone's going no.
But we as accountants will get access to this in due course. Like that's going to be an option for us later down the line.
Why would they? If they
will appear in your QBOA. It'll appear in your QBOA just like everything else. And fingers crossed, we'll get things like working papers and stuff to utilize as well. We don't know that's assumption, but that's like the dream, isn't it? That we could have access to working papers and everything from here.
Based on what's available in the UK at the moment, because TurboTax and stuff isn't, there's a lot of work to be done before this product is ready to release in the UK.
Yeah, so, but they haven't given us a deadline
for ITSA and all that stuff, aren't they? Really? Let's be honest.
Yeah. That's what it's aimed at.
So they've got enough work to do with ledgers.
Some bit of quick news because I know we're vastly running out of time, but just because I want to make sure people are aware of it. Some really cool updates coming through. Your VAT returns finally interact with your bank account. So when you prepare a return and you submit it and you get it sent over to and you submit it and it's ready to get paid, when you have that corresponding transaction in your bank, you will now be able to match with it and match it through, put it all through. So we love that. Rochelle,
why is it taken so long?
There was a real problem. So we've been asking for this for years and years, and there was a real problem. They weren't talking to one another. It was a horrible situation to be in. But Rochelle was the one who got this over the line, and she deserves a statue. So if you're listening, QuickBooks, we will send you where to put that statue. We'll get it erected and all that
On
stuff
top of the
for you.
grave for ledgers.
So when did this go live, Aaron? And does it apply to any VAT returns that you've not, historic ones?
It's gone
that you've not
live
yet
now,
posted?
but I think it's one of those where it's going to get rolled out 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%. So,
and as far as you're aware, if you've not, for example, yet posted, I mean, what month are we in now? So let's say you're March, April.
You should see them in your next load, yeah.
But even if you've not posted the banking yet, once it goes live for you, you should be able to see it for the previous return.
Yeah, and you should be able to say mark that as paid and put it through from there.
Nice.
Just like it would make sense to do. So we're really
now,
happy.
The other thing they could do on the taxes page, if you go to the taxes page,
yeah.
I'll just throw this one in there, is if they, I don't know if you've got them all, but at the moment, if you could have open, filed, paid, and there's a fourth one. I can't remember the fourth one. Submitted. I think submitted was pre-MTD. If you could merge all of them and just have open and filed, because that's I imagine what all that we want. Yeah,
especially now we can reopen the ones like it's been an absolute nightmare, right? Like this page becomes horrible. So
horrible. I didn't know you could reopen it. What does reopening it do?
So if I go into a return that's already been done, so say this one here, view the return, and if I'm not happy with it, I can reopen it there. I need to go and find my most recent one. But if I find my most recent one, I can go in there. It's this one, isn't it? View return, and then I can unfile it there. Unfile now, and then this is if you haven't used MTD. So if you're using this to imagine you've moved from 0 or something and you're trying to keep up and top, instead of having to call up the and get them to do it, you could do it from there. So I was trying to get it to £93.60 because that's what appears in my transaction.
So it won't hopefully that option won't be available to you if you're on MTD.
Correct. Yeah, MTD you don't have the option to unfile. But
that's good. Yeah,
if you're not on MTD, like I'm not here, then you can unfile instead of, because you used to always be able to do it, but you had to phone up support, didn't you, and say, please can you unfile it for me? They would unfile it for you. So, just get rid of that.
A bit like the bank rec, being able to undo the bank recs from that. So
yeah, exactly right. So absolutely love this update. This is a game changer. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you. And then this made me laugh. The US have had a brand new update coming their way, and we can be very smug about this one. They have the option to import data and import journal entries. How long have we had that functionality for? And how long has it taken for them to get it? But no, they have just had this month the opportunity to import journal entries. So for any American listeners out there, we've had that for 2 years now, 3 years,
at least
4 years.
But there's lots of import and export functions that we've had for years that they initially only
not the greatest advanced.
They put these in advanced, I think.
No, they've only just had journal entries as an import.
Even in advanced. Wow.
Yeah. So that's a smug one that we can go back and say, that was we were there before them. And I think that's it. The other bits, let's just make sure we talk through what everyone has to say.
You genuinely will sleep better because of that, won't you? You will fall asleep feeling smug because we had it first. I don't think anyone else in the world does.
There's going to be some bits that we can finally go through. And it's this journal entry that makes my 0 to QuickBooks a dream, because I create the journal entry, a couple of clicks, boom, like 3 minutes, I've got my information from 0 to QuickBooks thanks to this entry. So yeah, we love it. Paul says, I use QuickBooks for freelance expense claim clients. Yep. So I think QuickBooks Self-Solopreneur will be a great upgrade for that. Do we really need to worry about the accruals at this level? HMR's default to cash scheme from next year. Yeah, exactly. I think that's why those conversations will keep going on. And I don't know. I think they've got to make sure that they keep it right for clients, haven't they? They've got to make sure that it's simple. That simplicity's got to be the key with this software. So without simplicity, it's going to fall flat. We could assume the layout will evolve on QBO since it's an older dashboard invoice interface that may adapt the layout. Yep, completely game. Does Fode go to business assets? It does, but it's really difficult to play around with. And maybe it's because I'm not used to the American tax system, but it confused me. Like I was so confused why it was just not appearing on my reports. Like surely it would just appear on my reports and could be different in the tax. And as Kirsty says, hurrah, VAT and bank playing nicely. Have it. Any final thoughts? Let's go around the room of the 2 updates that we've had. Go around. Jan, we'll go with you first because you'll be the most negative, and then we'll go positive after that. Go for it, Jan.
It baffles me how this stuff takes so bleeding long at QuickBooks. Like ledgers shouldn't have taken this long, and if it took this long, it should have been delivered in a far higher standard than what it has. Like for you, Aaron, to be able to go and pick it apart within the hour of release, like that's basic data checking, quality checking of a release. Like, yeah, I think the workflows need looking at in their internal processes. Like that product should never have released in that condition.
Yeah, or release, like Paul says, as a beta, right? Like and we haven't talked about
Then we've also seen betas now go mainstream that are still in a poor condition.
Yeah, but at least if it says beta, you take that risk, right? You're taking that risk. That's you, isn't it? Like, there's something not quite right. But this isn't a beta. This is released to general public.
But how many times also were we promised that this was getting released, and how many times has it been delayed and then still delivered in that condition?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially when it's their own.
Think what it looked like before it, like. Yeah,
well,
I think there's some internal processes and quality assurance that QuickBooks needs to take some. Like, I have more and more concerns about the quality of their releases over the last 6 to 9 months, and the quality has been getting poorer and poorer. It's felt like a rush to market, and it just doesn't look good on them, which then in turn doesn't look good on us because we're there promoting it and saying it to our clients. This great tool's coming. And I mean, I suppose I whenever they delay a release, I start thinking, oh God, it's QuickBooks Bank again. We all got excited, we all shouted about it, and it never happened. So, which they seem to have learned from, but I think if I was running QuickBooks, I'd have some serious questions about the quality assurance of our releases at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. Simon, what's your thoughts on it?
The one thing we didn't mention it, but it should be there because everyone's releasing it, and we mentioned Free Agent once today, but they released it last week, I think. The year-end change for period basis, like that should be pressing and should be like here, like Xero have got it, Free Agent got it. That's kind of important because it needs to happen in less than a year's time.
Yeah.
Hang on, do you mean the ability to run a sort of 21 months?
Yeah, so you can change your year-end. And obviously, at the moment, if you change your year end now, it will change every year since the beginning of time to January. But actually, being able to run the 8-month period or your 6-month period or 2 weeks,
and then make that as a comparison to a 12-month year end previously.
Yeah, and that needs to happen by next April. Well, people have already started. Yeah, they've gone early. So I would expect that should have been higher up their list of priorities to do. Yeah, especially at sole trader.
It's all right because we've got a half-finished general ledger now. But you can't change the year ending.
That's the product that and solopreneur or whenever that comes. That's where there are obviously it should be in every product because companies do change their year ends. But this is specifically a HMRC going, we're changing your year end.
Yeah. And I was talking to someone about it the other day, like they've got medical practices and everything, so they're going to really, like, they don't have a choice, and they've got big clients are going to move, and there are workarounds we can do and everything else, but it's not.
It's just workarounds, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Other software users aren't having to do workarounds.
I think Xero's failed you. If you tried to shorten your year end, it couldn't do it.
But you can extend, can you?
You can extend your year end, but you can shorten it.
Interesting.
Which I think they've now fixed because there was a bit of an outrage when it first came out. I haven't looked at Free Agents yet, but kind of like that's something we've asked them about and it needs to happen. And sort of that should be on there like next. If it's not here by next month when we do this, then we've got a problem.
Okay, we'll hold them to that.
Otherwise, I just think they need to just. I like where the product needs to be. It's not it's not ready, but also ditch one of them.
Yeah,
you got too many.
It's more confusing than the iPad lineup at Apple.
But it's less confusing than Xero's.
Oh, it is now. Well, Xero's used to be really easy until today.
Yeah. I mean, Xero still has a SKU that just shouldn't be there, right? It's just so they can say from. That's the only reason it's there, right? But yeah, I think you're right, Simon. I know the frustration with the thing. I just don't know how they're going to fix it because that's
What concerns me more is that's a priority, a legal precedent priority, of year-end changes. That's a legislation change. It's not out yet. It doesn't seem to be a priority to them.
Oh, it's definitely a priority. It's just there's no
based on the quality of the recent releases. I think they ought to get it out sooner rather than later, so we can tell them what it's not working.
So we test it. Yeah. Charlie, what's your view on both of them? Obviously, one of them you don't care about. What about the one you do care about? Hit or miss?
So on Solopreneur, I think, as I said earlier, I think it looks like a good starting point. I hope we're not at the end point. It needs to have other facilities in there. I would hope, for example, when it comes here, the chart of accounts that the clients can't change will presumably be based on the SA, 103. Have I got the right number there? Yeah, SA 103, isn't it, for self-employed? So I would hope that's based on that, and that if we add others, for example, I would like it so it's forced, so you just add others as subheadings of the existing headings rather than creating complicated other ones that you then try to find some weird way to match into a tax return. I would also hope, for example, you could have rental income. So a small solopreneur might also have a little bit of rental income. And I've got a couple of clients who earn bugger all. I mean, I don't know how they live on what they earn, but one of them's got a very, very tiny sole trade and a very tiny bit of rental income. So it would, I'd like it to be able to track both of those. Hopefully,
just to counter that, though, I think that's an MTD issue, isn't it? Because currently, MTD will mandate both of those have separate software.
Not separate software. They need to be filed as independent filings. It shouldn't require separate software because you've got one bank. You don't want to be synchronizing the bank to two bits of software and then working out, hang on, did I already categorize this one and the other bit of software? That would be a nightmare. So you need to have one bit of software to categorize it, and then it files two MTD returns each quarter. But the software should, if it's all in one bit of software, it's you just press the button and say file, but we'll press two buttons. It's easy.
The software vendors would argue she should have two bank accounts, one for each, because that's technically two businesses, two business interests.
So two bank accounts. Those clients with little income, getting them to have a separate business bank account is next to impossible because they haven't got enough cash to live. They got to pay. They pay their debit card to pay Sainsbury's. Not enough cash. Oh God, yeah. My customer paid me yesterday, but it's in the business bank account. I've got to go home and transfer the money from my business bank account to my personal bank account so I can pay for my shopping at Sainsbury's. No, they have one bank account, lots of them, and they ain't going to change that.
I agree, but
I completely agree. That's the reality of it. But the systems and processes would argue she should have a personal bank account, a bank account for the rental side of things.
I agree that that's best practice, and anybody who's a bit more organised has got the cash to do that. I would 100% agree. That's what to do. Completely. But that's simply best practice. I don't think that is in any way a requirement. I think it's only
softwares best practice. Are building to best practice, not to reality. That's the problem.
No, I agree. They shouldn't do that. I agree. They should encourage best practice, but not force it.
So, what would you like to see change then, Charlie? Is there a quick fix for you to make it fully viable?
So I mentioned that. So the ability to have both self-employment income and a bit of rental income in there. I think you highlighted point was quite a good one, that you need to be able to see what you've looked at and what you haven't. I mean, I'm guessing the idea is that maybe they're thinking the AI is now getting so good. Whisper it isn't. But on the assumption that the AI was good, which it isn't, they've done it all, and all you do is look at, when you're ready to file something, you might look at each of your headings and go, yeah, that one looks all right. Yeah, so you don't need to look at it on the way through. It's probably their thinking. If that's their thinking, then it's wrong. So we do need to see which ones we've looked at and which ones we haven't. But the simplicity of the way that was laid out, I quite liked. I think it's quite nice and simple. So I think it's a very good starting point, but hopefully there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I think for me, General Ledger, I'm just frustrated it just came out the way it did, as Johan's already said. Solopreneur, I think it's an amazing start. I think there's some amazing bits. That splitting, chef's kiss. That's exactly how we want that to go and be put through. As Kirsty says here, she's really happy because Ledger will work for rental. And I can share an example of that. So quickly share screen. So this is how
for these clients, it's incredibly simple for the client to do, because I'm not going to use these clients. I'm not doing their books for them. There's no way I can do their books for them, because I'm charging them a pittance to do their tax return. They have to do the books themselves.
And this isn't really simple for them, right? Like this is quite complicated way.
for the
you have to
accountant.
put minus in here and a plus 100 here and all that sort of stuff, right? The fact it can do it, great. We're happy with that. So you can gross up your fees and put them in. Very happy. It accepts. Although, yeah, it does go through. But it wasn't going to go through then. But the way that it works on Solopreneur is just so much better. So yeah, we're happy with that. And I think Solopreneur is in the right direction. Just needs that little bit of love on that transaction page. I think we're on to a winner. And there is an episode of QuickBooks Labs done and dusted. Sorry, we're a little bit over there, but obviously we had 2 releases. When do we get to talk about 2 different SKUs in one episode? So yeah, that was hopefully that was exciting for you all. Don't forget to reach out to us if you've got any questions or anything like that. Put them in the comments section. Don't forget that we go live, or we aim to go live every single weekend, every single month, should I say, at 4:30. Keep an eye on socials for when that's going to be. Simon, do you want to go first? Any plugs you want to put out there where people can find you, all that sort of stuff? Go for it.
Just find me on LinkedIn. That's the place to look for me. I'm one social person, and that will do. I haven't got time for everything else, so yeah, just find me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Charlie, where people find you and anything you want to plug?
You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, I've got, my name's relatively rare, so it's relatively easy to find. But also on Facebook, I have the QBOA Pro Advisor group. So a group for if you're a QuickBooks Pro Advisor and you're not a member of the Facebook group and you're on Facebook, join that. There's lots of really great discussions in there. We're over 800 members now, which is not too shabby.
Nice. Well done. And obviously you can find him on all of Apron's socials as well, as he's got his April on it there. Johan, where people find you and anything to plug?
Find me on LinkedIn. I've got a rarer name than Charlie, so only one turns up. And you find me every Monday at 8:30, sharing my honest views on softwares on Ask the Accountant. Quality assurance manager over here. And find me at Client Engager, another software where I ensure quality of product before release.
Can I just throw it? Can I just have a quick little interruption just to praise Johan for a second, which I don't often do.
Go for it.
I was on your video earlier where you were talking about your new little features in Client Engager. Very, very impressive piece of kit, and what you've done to it, brilliant. So I just thought I'd raise that in this podcast. It was excellent.
Do you know what's? I think this is probably Jay hazing my view of other softwares now, and this is why I'm getting so angry with QuickBooks, because I know what resources they've got. That went from a brainstorm to a fully functional product that's in testing for a week in 5 working days.
Yeah, but they're an oil tanker, and you know how it's slow to change an oil tanker.
But they've got a bigger team to turn it.
No.
I've got one guy.
It's always the way. That's it's the same thing in any industry. Yeah,
but that is what's like. I'm sat there going like, if we can do quality delivery in 5 working days of a brand new feature that hadn't even been brainstormed until 5 days ago, then they've got the resources to check these things, to test these things. They've got the audience to test it with. They've got people screaming out to be beta testers. Like, it's their systems that need and their processes that need reviewing.
I suppose the one counter to that is, I assume, and I can only give them this as their praise to how this happened, but they did exactly that. They built something in 5 days, and that was fixed asset register.
I mean,
just leave it at that.
I could have.
And I hope to God it was a 5-day little mini project they did, where they thought they'll just build something for the sake of it. Because if it's anything more than that, then we're in trouble. All right, then, everybody. Thank you so much for giving all of your comments in. Thank you to everyone putting their questions in, etc., etc. We will see you this time next month at some point with some more news about the world of QuickBooks. So thank you all. Hopefully we'll have some more updates to share with you on the world of QuickBooks Solopreneur, or whatever we're going to get called here. And hopefully we get some updates for QuickBooks Ledger. So thank you to everyone for my panel for coming along and sharing their insights and telling us all how it is. And we will all see you next month. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with
Client Engager,
PayPal or
NetTracker,
Shopify, and with
Go
that,
cardless,
you
get paid
can
easily.
analyze. With
Cresco,
$1, you'll get paid instantly.
Swoop,
Stitch Labs tracks your
funding options.
QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online can save money and time.
QuickBooks Labs.